this video, we're going to take a look at some of the things that it takes to predict the price of XRP. Yes, that's right, I am taking a stab at this because there are several indicators that are predicting that XRP is going to move up. I'm going to tell you what they are, and it has nothing to do with the Ripple versus the SEC case. I'm also going to be talking about why the markets just moved up drastically today. We're talking about the crypto markets, some of the NASDAQ, as well as some of the others, and what the US dollar actually has to do with this. And I'm also going to talk about what Eleanor Tourette of Fox Business just put out on Twitter, and it's a letter from Senator Elizabeth Warren regarding the revolving door, as they put it, of United States agency employees making the move to the crypto world. Hey everyone, my name is Randy. Welcome back to the Late Night Grind. Right now on this channel, we're covering the Ripple versus the SEC case, as well as other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all these topics interest you, make sure you hit that subscribe button, join the Late Night Grind community, and of course, if you do a couple of things, I'd appreciate it. Smash the thumbs up button, watch this video all the way to the end. Those are some of the best things you can do to support a YouTube channel. So if you do that, I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, guys. Let's jump into it. Okay, so first I wanted to start off by talking about what Eleanor Tourette of Fox Business tweeted out. It was a letter that Senator Elizabeth Warren had put together with a bunch of other senators, AOC among others, and they wanted to know what he was going to be doing about the revolving door that is happening specifically with the SEC and other government agencies, in particular those that are making the jump from these government agencies into the crypto and blockchain world. Now I did read a lot of this report, and as Eleanor Tourette points out as well, it doesn't exactly paint crypto in the friendliest terms. It doesn't exactly go after it and villainize it, but yet there was a lot of things that they wrote up that were of concern of them. And I do have to agree with Ellie in that one of the things that this report shows is, as she put it, is just how fractured the understanding of the crypto industry actually is. And if you're interested in reading the full report, I will link it in the description below. In this report, they actually talked about a lot of different things, including lobbying groups, including the biggest players in the cryptocurrency world, in which they named Ripple, Coinbase, and Stellar as the biggest players in the industry. Now, I have to think, even though it looks like it was out of context, that they were talking about lobbying efforts, not exactly the biggest cryptos, because of course there are many other large cryptocurrencies out there, specifically Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a couple others that are of note that really aren't doing anything in Washington in terms of lobbying, unless of course you're Ethereum and your lobbying is done behind closed doors, but that's for another video. But the other thing that was pointed out was that in this report it was mentioned that Ripple is Coinbase's biggest competitor. Now, I have to think it's because Coinbase actually registered itself as a money transmitter, not as a cryptocurrency exchange, and Ripple basically essentially having a platform in which banks and institutions can transfer money as well, thus being a money transmitter. This report thought that they were actual competitors. If you've been in the cryptocurrency world, you know that that's not exactly true. Ripple is not Coinbase's biggest competitor. That would be Binance, which also, by the way, is mentioned in this report. And so it is a very interesting report, and it really talked about the lobbying efforts by the cryptocurrency world in Washington, D.C., especially with the midterms coming up, and Elizabeth Warren and the senators, they're certainly concerned about people in D.C. making the jump to fintech and cryptocurrency companies. But what's not mentioned in this report is how a lot of these government agencies have employees that are also jumping ship for the Wall Street sector and investment banks, specifically Goldman Sachs. That is not mentioned in this report. But of course, we're going to pretend that that doesn't happen. All right, so now let's talk about why Bitcoin and a lot of the crypto markets made a huge move up today. Well, pretty much everybody did, except for XRP. It only moved up about 3%, which is still a good move. But Bitcoin jumped a full $1,200 in a matter of about an hour or two. And Ethereum had one of the biggest jumps of the day, jumping over 15% in a matter of hours. So what was actually causing this, and why? Well, from a technical perspective, from some of the analysis that I've seen showed that Bitcoin had just broken out of what they call a symmetrical triangle trading pattern, which basically means that as the price was going up and down, it was creating basically a triangle trading pattern. And once it breaks out of one of those resistance zones, it has a tendency to break out and go sky high. Well, it did that today. Well, a lot of cryptos did, except for XRP. It only jumped about 3%. Now, that's still a nice move, but when you look at it from a technical perspective, XRP has been in a triangle trading pattern for several months now, and it is nowhere near breaking out. It actually has to get up somewhere close to the 60-cent level before it actually hits that breakout zone. So as of the title of this video, I wanted to point out a couple of things to look for in terms of how to predict the price of XRP. Of course, number one is looking at this Ripple versus the SEC case, but that's the obvious one, so I'm going to put that aside. What's the next non-obvious one? Well, if you're looking at it from a chart perspective, you have to look at what XRP is doing. In what I said, it's basically an ascending triangle trading pattern, which statistically has a bigger chance of moving to the upside once that price breaks out. The Ripple versus the SEC case could actually influence in getting there quicker, but nonetheless, it's still in this triangle trading pattern, whereas Bitcoin and Ethereum have broken out of theirs. Okay, so other than from a technical perspective, what could have caused this bullish move from not just the crypto markets, but from a lot of the stock markets, the tech sector? A lot of them went north as well. Well, you have to look at one thing, and that is the dollar, the DXY. And the chart behind me is the chart for the DXY, and what a lot of people look at is how cryptos, specifically Bitcoin, are a lot of times inverse to what this chart does. When the DXY moves up, Bitcoin typically falls, and the reverse also happens. So as you can see, the dollar has been going parabolic for several months now, and if you look even closer and you zoom in, you can see that today the dollar actually fell. Now from this daily time frame pattern, it's actually tough to see, but yes, the dollar, the DXY, did fall today. So I was looking at some analysis on why that actually happened and why it happened so sharply, because it actually went from about 112 to 110 in a matter of about an hour or two, which is a pretty aggressive move for the DXY to do that. So the speculation that I saw was that there is so much pressure on the dollar and the Fed being not nearly as hawkish in the coming months, and especially moving into next year, that they're not going to be raising rates as aggressively as they said they were going to be. Now, a lot of this is speculative because the Fed has basically said several times that we're going to continue to raise rates no matter how painful it gets. Well, there's a lot of people are saying, no, they're going to have to reverse course. In fact, there's been a lot of people saying this since I was talking about this back in the springtime when inflation was really starting to get out of control, that the Fed was going to have to raise rates, but they were going to have to reverse it because raising rates doesn't always stave off inflation. So this is what people are talking about. How hawkish is the Fed going to be in continuing to raise rates? If you want to have a conversation with me about it, you can also join me on Twitter. I'll put a link in the description down below. You can follow my Twitter profile, have a conversation with me there about it. And if you've been watching my videos recently, you know that I turned off comments on this channel because I did an analysis, and 93% of the comments and the responses were spams, scam, and bots, and I don't want my audience subjected to that, so you can go ahead and follow me on Twitter. So if you want to look at what XRP and a lot of the other cryptos are doing, you have to look at the DXY, you have to look at the dollar, you have to look at the Fed, what the minutes are saying about if the Fed is going to continue to raise rates, and not only that, you have to look at what the UK is doing, as well as Asia. Because as of yesterday, the Asian stock market also went sky high as well. This comes a day after Alibaba, one of the Chinese biggest stocks, had tanked another 15%. And just a side note, if you follow Jim Cramer, well, at one point he said he would kill to have an Alibaba stock at $266. It is now at $63. So these are going to be some of the key factors that you're going to want to look at if you want to look for a macro outlook in terms of what Bitcoin, the cryptos, XRP are going to be doing. And there are some big factors that a lot of times make a lot of sense, and you can realize when the price makes a big move up or a big move down that it has to do with one, two, or even all three of these factors. All right, before I wrap up this video, I wanted to tell you guys to go over to the community section. I just put up a poll there. I wanted to know what you guys thought about the price of Bitcoin. Let's do some predicting of our own. Is it going to hit $35,000 first, or is it going to hit $7,000 first? Hit the community tab, participate in that poll, and let me know. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end, for smashing that thumbs up button. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.